Right, okay, so for today's video, we can talk about how women can actually stop you from becoming successful. And look, I'm just gonna start this video off by saying it's not a blame game, and women are beautiful creatures. I adore them, all shapes, sizes, etc. So this isn't no hate, but what this is a reality check and a conversation that most people need to hear. And we all have desires of having that, model woman, that dime piece. And the reality is, you're not going to get that. You're not going to aspire towards that if you haven't built value from yourself in terms of who you are, what you do, what your business is. You haven't created status. And a lot of people get themselves trapped into a situation where they'll find themselves with a woman and they're still building their business, still very early stages. And that relationship will actually stunt and stall the growth of yourself, from a personal standpoint, and also professionally in terms of like what you're doing from a business perspective. And fundamentally it's not going to help you reach your full potential. And again, it's just about recognizing distractions and maintaining your boundaries and making sure you stay on track. Because the bottom line is, if you're in your 20s, you should not even be consider like dating on a serious level, because the reality is you don't know who you are. You don't know what it is you want. You don't know where your career is going to lead or where your business endeavor is going to get you to. And if you don't have that foundation, how are you going to build something impressive and substantial? You should only consider dating seriously if you're in your sort of early to mid 30s and business is all in order. Because number one, women, they're a distraction from your purpose. So we all know to maintain a relationship, you have to invest time. And we also know that growing a business requires a lot more time than you actually have. There's more hours in the day. There's not enough hours in the day that you require, and you don't have that. So you constantly have to be on the grind. You have to be on the graft. And ultimately, when you're trying to build something, you have to start off with yourself. And if you find yourself in a situation where you decided to date, move in with someone, have a girlfriend, and, she may not necessarily understand, and 9 times out of 10, they don't, that the business pays the bills. The business is what takes things to the next level, buys the holidays, the cars, designers, etc. And to get to that stage, especially in effectively 2025, it's a lot different than what it was even 5-10 years ago, especially since post-COVID. Businesses have changed and you have to be very agile, you have to be very fluid, and you need to ultimately understand that if you do want to get into business and you want to start something and you want to reach the highest levels, it's a lonely journey, and you're not going to be able to achieve that if you're chasing a woman. And dating, relationship building, it takes time and it pulls you away from your actual goal. So these can be a major distraction, believe me. Like, look, women, they're beautiful. I adore them. I've no issues in that domain, but I'm just telling you firsthand, like, if you go solo and if you don't invest your time and energy, because that's what you have to do to maintain a relationship with anyone of quality, it's so much of a compromise. And your 20s should be your building years. This is where you should build a very solid foundation, start your networking, build your mindset. You should start to discover who you are. Think about your physique, how you look, are you happy? Because these are the golden years where you can build a very strong foundation. And you don't really know what you want. The type of girls I was dating in my 20s are not the type of girls I'm dating in my 30s. So things change over time, and you don't know what you want, and you don't want to get yourself caught up in a situation where you're with the wrong person and they don't understand your vision, your goals. They want a different type of life, and it just pulls you back so many different steps. So you can't be distracted from your purpose. And at the end of the day, a lot of times, if you want to entertain a woman, you've got to do fun things, and it's not as simple as a phone call and a coffee date. There'll be holidays, there'll be trips, there'll be events, and, things that you have to plan. There'll be late night texting. These things take time, and it takes money, and it takes energy. And again, this is siphoned away from your mission. So you've got to really think like how bad you want it. And a lot of the times people talk about they want to desperately, do their own thing, start an entrepreneurship journey. But the reality is, when it comes down to the sacrifices, the late nights, early starts, everything is a lot of pressure and a lot of stress from a financial and performance standpoint. This is where people start to break, because they look for short-term gratification. And again, this is what you've got to balance. Do you want short-term pleasure, or do you want long-term growth? And look, it's so easy to go out, go to a bar, pick up some girls, and entertain that sort of lifestyle that even they talk a lot about in the red pill community, in terms of you should pick up a new girl every day, have girls in rotation. And look, that's fine if you're a player, if you're a pimp, and that's paying your bills. But the reality is, the world doesn't work like that. And you've got to think to yourself, do you want to focus your energy on instant gratification, or do you want to focus your energy on long-term growth? And all these little distractions is putting your mind in a different direction, because love, lust, sexual desire is that way. Long-term business growth is that way. So ultimately, you got to think and balance and think, right, what is it I really want? Because a woman is only going to cause you a distraction in the long term. And again, right, how sustainable is a relationship when you're still building, you're still grafting, you're still on your journey, you're not the complete man, you're not the total package yet, you're still developing. And the type of women that you'll get are just going to be women that are going to be around the block. So you're not really going to get anything substantial, and it's only going to hinder you in the long term. So you got to think about, how bad do you want it? Do you want to build a major empire, build yourself physically, mentally, get your finance, get your money right, get yourself set up, get your network right, get everything all on point, and then you'll find yourselves in better situations, better environments, and this is where you'll attract better quality women, albeit this time round, you'll be in a position where you don't have to worry about, your business structure, because you'd probably have it being self-sufficient, and you can be a bit more hands-off. Like, your focuses can change, and you can have a bit more downtime to enjoy the pleasurable things in life. But again, it's not until you get there, and getting there should be the priority. Next point is, if you think about the financial drain, so you've got to keep your women entertained, and it's not as simple as just come over, let's chill. I mean, that works for certain women for a certain amount of time, but it gets to a stage where you've got to go out and do things, and that takes time. So if you're going on holiday for a business trip, 9 times out of 10 your main girlfriend's gonna be like, look, can I come with you? Where are you going? Can I spend some time? Can I help out? I can do X, Y, Z. I can be your PA. And again, people just want to be your plus one, and then you're flying business or you're flying upper class, then you're obliged to take your partner or your girlfriend to do the same as well. And the next thing you know, it's encouragement for, what turned into a business trip to turn into a trip of pleasure. And then when you're early in your game of business, it's going to strain you financially as well, because you're then essentially funding 2 lifestyles when you're supposed to be focusing on your business. And every bit of spare change you have, that should go back into your business, whether it be marketing, growing your staff, your resources. It all needs to go back into your business. It's invest. And obviously make sure that these investments, pay dividends in the long term. But any spare bit of cash you have, especially early, needs to go back into your business. Keep growing, keep marketing, keep advertising, and keep getting things out there. There's so much to do. And with the world of marketing and personal branding and how everything's changing, you need to stay ahead of the game. So again, when you're building, you need to put all your spare cash, especially in your 20s, into your business. And that's how you build a foundation. And it's not just about business as well. So obviously your business will start to pay out. You'll have obviously profits come through, and income that you can then choose to shop around with. And then why not look at different ways of making that money work for you, making it grow. Like I used to do financial trading. We've got a new exciting product coming out very soon, but we'll talk about that another time. But even in the world of like Forex and doing trading, and even you have like the likes of crypto, stock, shares, maybe have a look at compounding that money. So you've got your business revenue, you've got your trading revenue, you've got your stocks, your shares, your property, and you can obviously explore different ways of getting cash in. And you're going to have a pain point, whether it's at the start or you can try and delay it till further on. But I can guarantee this as a fact. If you invest your time and get your mind right early, you're going to be better off in the long run. If you start messing around and you lose focus and you get distracted early, the chances of you succeeding in the long run is next to zero. And you're going to suffer and you're going to struggle and it's going to all be downhill. The next point is obviously setting boundaries and priorities as well. So another issue with women and how they can stop you from becoming successful is because you need to be in a situation where you've got boundaries, where like your partner knows that this is my business. I come first, the business comes second, you come third, fourth or fifth. And saying it out loud, it might sound a bit harsh, but the reality is without strict boundaries, i.e., if I call you, it's because I'm free. If I don't text you, it's because I'm not free. That is why people who can prioritize that are successful. And there's not many women who can understand that. And then they'll just, stray off or lose interest and find someone else who can give them a bit of time. But then what they haven't realized is the person that they walked away from is someone who's so driven and motivated and disciplined that the quality of life that they could have potentially enjoyed in the future, they would have sacrificed for short-term pleasure. And again, it works both ways. But for me, I just want to talk about from a male's perspective. And look, it's very difficult and it needs to be very clear from day one that if you are going to date, even loosely, that these are my boundaries, these are my expectations, this is what I expect from yourself, this is what you can expect from me, and that needs to be communicated well. And that's not just for relationships, it's also with friends and family members as well. You need to let them know what's what. And you can't let people guilt trip you into thinking that you're too focused on work or you don't spend enough time with them. And the bottom line is, if you're on a journey, if you're on a mission, there's no going back. And the way I look at it is, the old saying of burn the boats. If you're going to really do this, if you're going to roll the dice and gamble on yourself, you need to set sail, land in your location, burn the boats, so there's no going back. And a lot of people are not self-employed, probably 5 to 20% of the population. So maybe 1 in 5, 1 in 40 would probably really understand in terms of people you'll interact with on a day-to-day basis. And even then, it's like, do they really get what you're saying? So don't let other people impact the way you think and feel and what you should and shouldn't do. And if people are going to pull you away just because it doesn't make sense to them and they can't see your vision, you need to chalk them off right away. The next thing as well is you got to choose the right partner. And look, not all women will actually hold you back. You could get very lucky. I say luck, it's element of skill and other things as well. But ultimately, what you need to do is focus on, if you are going to entertain a relationship, does the relationship serve you? Does she understand your requirements? Can she help build you up? And this is essentially what you have to be very selective, because not many women can understand or be patient in terms of what their needs are and what life looks like with you. And again, you've got to find someone on the same page. It might be even someone else, like a female in business, for example, and she might know the deal just from the trials and tribulations and what she's going through. And this is the challenges that you have to think about in business. Ultimately, to summarize, there's distractions everywhere, and you can't afford a weekend where you've just written off your weekend, you've bickered, you've gone back and forth, you're charged up, you're not level-headed, you've lost that emotional control, and then all you've done is you've taken away from that relationship, but more importantly, you've taken time from your business, which you could have spent growing and developing. So you've got to be selfish. And remember, it's always myself, my business, and then anyone else after the fact. And again, you've got to understand that, and you don't want to learn that lesson the hard way when you get older, and it's harder to then pivot and turn things around. You need to be very focused. And again, think about realistically the type of women that you're going to get when you're in your building and you're in your early days, where you're not going to have that maturity, let's be honest, and you're not going to have that life experience and understand how the world actually works. So think of, once you become the man, once you become the total package, you've got your business, your finance, properties, you've got multiple revenue streams, you've got a good network, you've got a good presentation, and you've got a good physique, and you're set, you're steady, you're grounded, your foundation's solid. You essentially you've got autonomy over your time. You can go wherever you want to eat, you can drink whatever you like, anything's at your disposal. Think about what you're going to attract at that point. And, you know, women who can offer a lot of value in terms of like looks, understanding, etc., they expect something in return as well. So you're not, as from a man's perspective, you're not going to build yourself up just so that you can get an average woman. You want something that's going to match your level, and something essentially you could carry on your arm like a trophy, essentially. But, or even walk around with pride is probably a better way to phrase that. But what I'm saying is, same for women. So women who know their value and know what they bring to the table, they're going to have a certain expectation. They're going to have a certain like lifestyle. They're going to want a certain type of, you know, like a lifestyle essentially, isn't it? In terms of holidays, spend, quality of life, and they're not going to like compromise on their values. So you shouldn't either as well. So again, something to think about. And if you are really serious about business, then these are the types of decisions that you're going to have to make. And they're not easy decisions to make as well. This is essentially where you got to think, right, how bad do I want it? And when you want it as bad as you want to breathe, that's when you get results. And it's as simple as that. And look for long-term growth rather than short-term gratification, because the man you become in your early 30s, mid-30s, and what you can offer, you'll attract an elite set of women, no doubt. I can tell you that for a fact. Whereas if I were to go back 10 years ago and think of the caliber of women, of course they were of a high standard, but even at my level, what I could bring to the table, it was only so much. But as I've leveled up, so has my environment, and the same will apply for you as well. But the mistake you don't want to make is trying to focus too much on the women and, you know, like having that sort of lifestyle when your business is not there, you're not there. And believe me, if you're in your 20s, you shouldn't even be entertaining that. Think about what I've said, and if you've had any experiences, feel free to drop a comment. If you've had value from the video, like, subscribe. We've got more to come, and we'll check in on the next one.